Okay, class, we're about to start lesson 4 on chapter 3, and this is lesson 4, percent calculator skills. Now, what is happening here is what you can do is have the calculator, you can do this on your calculator. However, I would like for you to basically do it the algebraic way that we've been doing it so that we would stay consistent. So we're going to do a few problems here, and you will notice it's similar to the problems that we've already been doing. So let's go to problem number 1. It says find 46% of 130. So the word find is x equals. 46% would be 0.46. Of is multiplication, and $130 is $130. So now we just pull up our calculator. And we will have 0.46 times the 130. And just so you can see it, put it here and press enter. So it should be x is $59.80. All right, now we move on. Let me see. All right, let us go to number 4. Number 4 says what number, we know it's x, is equal. Now we have 62.5%. We know that's the same as saying 62.5% of multiplied 64. Now if we rewrite this, this would be 0.625 times 64. So now we will put that in our calculator. So it would be 0.625 times 64. And that gives us 40. So x is 40. Now, let's see. Okay, let's look at number 7. It says 36 is what percent, which is x, of 144 times 144. So we had 36 is equal to 144x. We divide each side by 144. And we will have 36 divided by 144 is equal to x. So now we put this in our calculator. 36 divided by 144. Press enter. So that gave us 0.25. Now remember, they asked us what percent in the problem. So we know we have to move this decimal 2 places to the right. So it'd be 25% is equal to x. All right. Let's see. Let's look at number 10. So number 10, it says what number is 33 1/3% of 237? Okay, now this problem here is a little unique because well, let's just still do it the way we do it. So we have what number is x? Is equal. We had 33 1/3%. Of means multiplication, 237. Now, in previous problems, they told us that 33 1/3% is the same thing as the fraction of 1/3. But as you all know, unless you all remember that, you're not going to know that it's 1/3. So we would need to put this in our calculator. And what we could do is this here. Let's pull this up. Now, our 33 and the third, let's change that to a mixed number. This would be 100 over 3% times 237. So now, we're going to use our calculator to do this. So first of all, we will put our fraction, which we have here. So we will have 100. Press the down arrow over 3. Press the right arrow. Now we need to get a percent sign behind here. So you will press second and then a percent sign. So this is 103%, 100 over 3%, and then times 237. And press enter. So that is 79. So X is 79. And that will be your final answer. Now, if you need to see this again, all you have to do is just rewind it, and you would see how you're supposed to do this. Okay, next. Let's see. It says, okay, now we're going to look at problem 13. It says 390 is, which we know is equal, what percent is X of 500 times 500? Okay, now, we know this would be 390 is equal to 500X. We'll divide each side by 500. And we know this side will simplify out to X. Now, I want to show you how in your calculator as well you can get the percent in your calculator. You could take 390. Oh, wait a minute, let me clear that out. Press the fraction key. It'll be 390 down arrow over 500. Press the right arrow key. Now, when you want to change a value to a percent, you'll press second, and then you'll press this closed parenthesis here. Because if you notice, it had the arrow to the percent, so it's telling you you want to take this fraction to a percentage. And you'll press enter, and it gives you 78%. So you don't have to do the decimal and move in the decimal. This is a way you could do it where the calculator will even give you the percent. Okay, now, let me see, that's 13. Okay, 16. All right. It says, what number is 87.5% of 16? Okay. So what number is X? Is 87.5 is 87.5%. We know we could do that as 87.5 because we know a half is 0.5. Of means multiplication 16. Okay, so now we'll put this in our calculator. Clear this out. Well, first, let's just rewrite this as a decimal. This would be X is equal to 0.875 times 16. So we can multiply that out. 0.875 times 16. That gives us 14. Okay, next. I think I want to do 18. A number is 62 2/3% of 414. What is the number? Okay, so we're going to do this with the calculator. So we said a number, let's say 18. A number is X. Is equal 62 2/3%. We'll leave it at 66 2/3%. Of means multiplication for 14. Now we're going to put this in our calculator, and that will give us our answer. So now, putting this in the calculator, you notice here we have a mixed number. So what we need to do is write this as a mixed number in our calculator. So we'll press second, then we'll do that fraction key, and now we have our mixed number. So we have 66, arrow, 2, down arrow, 3, right arrow. Now we need to put a percent sign behind that. So we'll press second, then the open parenthesis just to do the percent. Now you notice it doesn't have that arrow percent because it's not supposed to have that. Then we'll multiply this by 414 and press enter. So it's 276. And the calculator did all the work. And so we are done with that problem. Okay, now for the bottom here for problems, let me see, it says choose the one best answer to each question. You may use your calculator. So we can use calculators from 19 to 22. So let's start off with problem 19. It says questions 19 and 20 refer to the following chart. Chanel placed an $84 order. How much shipping and handling will she be charged on her order? So what we would do here, we see that we have an order placed at $84. So we will go down for items costing. This falls in the $50.01 to $100. So it's 5% plus an additional $4. So what you would do for problem 19, you would take your $84 and multiply it. You can use a parenthesis or the dot. Multiply it by the 5%, which is 0.05, and then you would add the $4. So now we take our calculator. We would add 84. We do the parentheses 0.05. Close the parentheses plus 4. And that'll give us $8.20. That will be your answer, $8.20, which is C. All right, let's jump here to problem 20. It says Jason placed an order totaling $110. Zola placed a $90 order. How much more did Jason pay in shipping and handling than Zola? So we will have to find both of them. So Zola falls in between the $50.01 to $100, and Jason falls into the $100.01 or more. So Jason, we would take the 110 times 0.08 and get that value. Zola will be the $90 times the 0.05 plus the $4. And then we will subtract their answers. So let me put this in a calculator. So we have 110 times 0.08. That gave us $8.80. Then we would take the $90 times 0.05 plus $4. That'll give us $8.50. So now we will subtract those two values. $8.80 minus $8.50 is equal to 30 cents. So you have 30 cents left. That's how much more was paid. So your answer here would be A. Now we go to problem 21. It says in an election, 3,190 out of 3,625 registered voters voted against the tax increase. What percent of the registered voters voted against the increase? They tell us here 3,190 out of 3,625 voted against a tax increase. So we'll just put that in our calculator. First let's do a fraction. 3190. Down arrow. 3625. Right arrow. Now remember, we want a percent, so we'll press second and this close parenthesis and press enter. So that'll be 88%. And 88%, which would be C. Okay, problem 22. It says a baseball player has the following statistics. To the nearest percent, what percent of the players' at-bats were strikeouts? Okay, so they have 410 at-bats and there's 63 strikeouts. So what we would do, we'd take 63 out of 410 because we just want to know the percent of strikeouts. So we would go here to our calculator. We would take the fraction, 63. The bottom we'll type in 410. And since we want our final, press the right arrow. And since we want our final answer to be a percent, we'll press second and a close parenthesis and press enter. Now if you notice here, this has a decimal, but it told us to round to the nearest percent. So they want us to round to the nearest whole number. So we'll look one digit behind the decimal, that's 0 through 4, so it'll stay 15. So our answer here would be 15%. So that'll be D. Now whenever they ask you to round to the nearest percent or whole percent, that means they want you to round to the nearest whole number. So it'll be D, which is 15%. So basically, if you go to 3 decimal places, like say for instance, we were not able to use the calculator. Now, let me do this. Let's imagine we were not able to use the calculator and we had to round to the nearest percent. We would take 410 and the 63. We will go 3 decimal places. We'll go 3 digits behind the decimal. Now remember, this is telling us to round to the nearest percent. So you go 3 digits behind the decimal. So 410 doesn't go into 63. 410 goes into 630 once. 1 times 410 is 410. So this would be 220. Bring down our 0. 410 goes into 2200 5 times. 5 times 0 is 0, 5 times 1 is 5, and 5 times 4 is 20. So this will leave us 150, and we'll bring down our 0. 410 goes into 1500 3 times, and then we will stop here. Now remember, we only stop here because we're trying to round to the nearest percent. So we only need to go to 3 decimal places. Once you get that 3rd decimal place, then before you write down your decimal, you'll determine if you're going to round to the hundredths place. Round it up or leave it the same. So 0 through 4, we will leave this the same. So this would be 0.15, which would be 15%. And that is how you would do that by hand. And we will go more into that a little later. But this is the end of lesson 4. So this will be up on YouTube as well. Have a nice day.